2602 for 850 Ford Lane. On this group of parcels, this is going to be on that round about 77 acres. So David, let's talk about more about this. At the last planning commission meeting, it was requested a table, we brought up and we talked about different plans, right? So this went to the city council work session. So can you bring us up to date on how that went and where we're at currently?
I think the applicants have someone to speak, to you all tonight, but as far as, what we've worked on, obviously this was submitted, there's been some back and forth as far as the lot layout and everything. After the last planning commission meeting, I think my general understanding is had a revision, layout that everybody felt a lot better about, a mixture of lot sizes and things like that. The applicant took that to the city council and presented that to them as far as kind of the proposal, street changes, lot layout. Really wasn't any comments from the city council. Wasn't really any changes requested or anything like that.
So no concerns on density, utilities, roads?
No, there were no concerns raised about the layout or the changes. And then the applicant brought like the first kind of layout submittal that we showed that was strictly like all R3 lots. I think he took revision number 3 maybe, and had like, here's where we were at when we came back at the second planning commission meeting. And then he had like revision number 9, which was the last one that the planning commission had seen at the previous week's meeting. And I think that was the one everybody felt really comfortable with. So, kind of showed the progression, the work that was being done with the planning commission to get to a point like a product and a lot count that everybody felt better about, but no real comments or changes or requests from the council this time.
I find that interesting.
Now, I will say, they have a couple of things that we'll talk about. We spoke today about like the zoning and like how to zone it. And from a staff standpoint, I think we're still in support of just straight R3 zoning. Because, a PCD would be, I feel just unnecessary for the subdivision. Most of the lots would be R3. We would have some lots that are all, close to a half acre, but they're still capable of being zoned R3. And then there was some concern over how to make sure if you try to create zoning or create legal descriptions for the areas that were going to be larger parcels, close to a half acre or more. Well, number one, what if they needed to shift or change something, or something didn't work out? And most of those, based on the layout that the most recent layout, number 9 that we looked at, not all of those are necessarily like R2 size. So really, they still fit R3. So I think there's some discussion that they're going to have tonight about like bill of assurance or maybe doing straight R3 zoning with a max unbuildable lots.
So I've got the latest concept for y'all as well as the first one that we had proposed. Just as things stand on the other one. This very first one. So this revised concept doesn't couple of things.
That was concept 3. This is
It should be concept 3 in the bottom corner and concept 9 in the top corner.
Are there two pages?
R3, R3, R3.
I have two different ones.
Yeah, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versions of concept 3.
Yeah, they're saying R2.
Concept 3, concept 9.
Oh, did I-
Concept 3, concept 3. I've got five concept 3s.
There's,
Nope, that's concept 3.
okay.
So I think we're covered on, we need 2 more of concept 9.
Concept lines in the back, so three? Those are all threes.
These are all 3s. Okay, so y'all may have to share concept 9. I apologize. So this new concept that y'all are looking at is something we came up with after a couple work sessions with y'all. Is it reduces the overall density. It has a bunch of larger lot sizes in there. It's got some more open space. It's got a stub out to the east. And so what we would like to propose tonight is we initially had been thinking about a mix of different zones to kind of land in between R2 and R3. The problem is that at this point in time, it's difficult for us to zone any particular portion of this property R2 and know that we're not going to have to come back and, hey guys, we made a mistake, we need you to rezone it yet again. And so what we are proposing is a bill of assurance, and what that is it operates like a subdivision covenant in favor of the city, and it runs with the land. So if we sell it, the next person that buys it is still stuck with that same bill of assurance. It's filed in the real estate records and runs with the land again. It also cannot be removed without the city council's consent. And so what it kind of does is allows us to ask for an R2.5, sort of somewhere in between the two zones without asking for a PUD. And what we were hoping to do tonight is one, figure out if that is something that y'all would be interested in. I did talk to the city attorney, and he said that he did not have an issue with bills of assurance generally without regard to any of the particular terms of this. I'm not telling y'all, hey, your city attorney gave you a thumbs up, don't go ask him, think about it. But I did speak with him, and generally speaking, he's okay with the concept. Of course, y'all and the city council would have to approve what it actually says. But the original proposal, I believe, had 221 lots in it. And this revised proposal has 168 lots in it. And so what we could do is submit a bill of assurance to you all saying that it would be zoned R3 subject to a bill of assurance limiting it to 168 lots total. And there could be more restrictions on it, but that one would certainly limit the density, which I think was a primary concern. So,
Sorry, I thought 6:30. So adjusting to 6 o'clock.
I also thought it was 6:30.
What did that say?
So you hit on the certain things. I was hearing David mention this. I'm of the opinion that the PCD is not the right thing for this.
This also,
What I didn't want to is if it goes R3 and it's conveyed and it gets by right, then it can have be R3 all the way throughout, which then gets us back to where we don't want to be. So David, Mr. Mayor, if the attorney, if Mr. Eichmann is on board with the bill of assurance and that can work, from my opinion, not speaking for the planning commission, that starts to narrow this down to how the mechanism can work so that we get assurances that it doesn't exceed the density that we've been talking about, which was, we reviewed concept 9 2 weeks ago, which was 168 total lots, with 7 of them being foreseen as unbuildable. And that is if, that's our limit, that's our cap, is we have 161 lots that we have a home on it. But environmental and some other changes might.
It very well could reduce that, certainly.
So we know we have a top, and I think that's where we were trying to get to, was the top of understanding that density level, which is much more amenable than 221 buildable homes. That's why I'm a little bit surprised when we get feedback from council regarding that matter, because we directed you to go there, and we really had a strong opinion that you will get feedback that helped shape this layout, right?
No comments? I didn't watch the
I didn't watch the video. I haven't had an opportunity to.
There were 3 council members absent.
Okay, so we only have
There were
half.
3 council members absent.
No, I think that doesn't give us a good representation, unfortunately. If you're missing half of your,
But there were no burden comments, let's say, as far as layout or design. With records.
but that's gonna be a little bit of pause if we're missing half of the council. Just because I feel like the other half might have had comments. That other half might have been what we expected to have comments. So.
Let me, from our perspective, what we talked about, or where we left off 2 weeks ago, is we had a much better feeling about this.
Yes.
Which is why we said, yes, send this on to the council for their input. Asking you all this question is, are you all on board with the idea of the R3 zoning with a bill of assurance? If the attorney agrees in wording and that works, that it can't have it's capped at buildable lots, so it will be a mix of R2, R3, where that all finalizes based on environmental and the rest of engineering. We know that this could shift.
I'm good with the cap if it can be legally enforced. That would be my concern, because, like you said, sometimes things go south and change ownership and whatever, so.
So I did give a short explanation on that earlier. What it is it effectively operates like a subdivision covenant in favor of the city. And so it's a restriction on the land, it runs with the land, if we sell it, the deed restriction remains in place, filed in the real estate records, and it can only be released by city council. So it's intended to be enforceable, and it's a very short and sweet document that says, hey, we agree to do this, and if we don't, we agree to suffer the consequences.
Are there any others in place anywhere that you know of?
Don't get angry at me when I tell you he does them a lot, but I do them quite often and faithfully. And
That would make me angry.
Well, I know it's, every time I say they do it like this in Fayetteville, that seems to upset people. But it's the form that I use is a form that was, and of course this would be prepared by Justin or reviewed by him and redlined as necessary. But the form I use would be the form that I use down there, which is a form that was created by the Fayetteville City Council or City Attorney.
Has anybody challenged it? Has there been cause for it to be challenged? Everything is still owned by who did the document?
Not to my knowledge, it's a voluntary restriction that we're placing on our own property. So I mean, without regard to Fayetteville, or without regard to Cave Springs Planning Commission or City Council, we could just put a deed restriction on our property voluntarily, saying no pigs allowed on the property, and it would operate the same as that. It's just being offered in conjunction with a rezoning.
And it would definitely convey if the property sold.
Oh, most certainly. It's intended to, and it would say that in the document. And so it's the way I explained it earlier is it's a way for us to essentially ask for an R2.5 instead of.
I said that. I said, what you want, 2.5?
Well, that's what we're coming with now.
Well, you know, they have all those numbers in Rogers, you know, you get 3.3.
Oh yeah.
And that's my biggest concern with, no on an R3. We said no to R3.
Right.
That was where we drew a line. And we've got a product that we are more agreeable to. Probably not our 100% vision, but a product that we can meet somewhere in the middle, right?
Well, with us having the R3 zoning standards, but a cap on
That's right.
168 lots, it would allow us the flexibility to have different lot sizes, and necessarily some of those would end up looking more R2-ish because we're going to use the space as we can.
Right. And the big concern is, because you've seen this game happen before, is we're built by right. If it gets R3, it's by right, and then somebody conveys again, and somebody carries on, and it just unravels and ends up where we don't want it to be. But if the bill is a bill of assurance, and set the limits, and it continues on in perpetuity with that property, unless the council changes that, which I don't know why they would, but as long as it's in the city's control, then that gives me a lot higher comfort level that we're getting to where we need to be, right?
It would be, again, it's filed in the real estate records, and so this is something that when you if we did go to sell it, it would appear in a title search, and it would pop up when someone else is trying to buy it. So they're very much intended to be sticky.
You don't anticipate needing any variances on lot width or anything like that?
This, I think, I mean, there was also another option where we asked for R2 and then we come right back and ask y'all for variances, which
That got a big thumbs down.
I learned my lesson on that one. So
I
it's,
want to make sure we're not getting that situation. Like, when we move forward with that, we're not going to see you all coming in wanting to shrink any lots down. We won't have to have any variances.
Well, with the cap on the lot sizes, I think this eliminates that.
That's what I'm saying. If
Yeah.
we wouldn't want to have it come back.
There's-
That happens far too often.
I mean, there was also an issue where if we tried to do a mix of R3 and R2, that some of these lots may end up being 5 feet short of what you need to do R2. And this would also eliminate that issue. We just get 168 and that's it.
We'll go with the number I talked about last time.
And that's 7 of those are unbuildable. So, I mean, and we can phrase that however needed,
I
but
think we can phrase it by buildable lots.
Yeah,
Not
161.
limit total lots, limit buildable.
Yeah, 161 buildable lots.
which is 100, would that be
Yeah, that's-
acceptable? Yeah, we could do 161 buildable.
Because there might be
You're gonna lose, I think, more than that anymore.
I keep the intent of the R2 lots that you see on the right side of the page, right? And geometrically is the only thing that's gonna change.
Right.
Based on that right of way that we talked about tying in on the north side, and that's gonna definitely change those 3 lots. Depending on if we can get it or not.
Right.
We want frontage, so that would potentially turn into 1 lot. So yeah, in any case, we'd be moving lots based off geometry.
It's 161 buildable.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have so much same issue with it. I would like feedback from council. I mean, it will go to the council.
We'll go to the
It's
council.
unfortunate that we didn't have the full council there for feedback. But
If they reject it, come back and see.
I was gonna
Yeah.
They will tell you their thoughts, so we may or may not see them.
So I would need the kind of process of this is I was hoping to get, like 161 buildable lots, the language that y'all would like to see in that. I don't have one prepared because I didn't know what it needed to say, so I would go and prepare that. I'd send it to Justin Eichman, make sure that he is comfortable with the language. Justin is very good. I can assure you it will be very enforceable against us. And then I would come back to the next planning commission meeting, and y'all would be able to have a copy of that. Preferably before the meeting, you would see it. Yes.
Yeah, if we get a document that legal is happy with, then we come back here for our recommendation to council.
Okay.
I think going this route too, Justin will be available at the council meeting to walk through the process and talk about it, and kind of explain it in a, understandable fashion. So, like having him prepare and being able to do that, I think is very good.
So next steps, document's gonna be drafted, legal's gonna be happy with that, and the wording on that. And then we come back here for an action item. And then successful passage here would be recommendation to the council for adoption. Have a public hearing there related to the matter of rezoning. And the devices for accountability. Is that right?
Yes, and we may need to work on the language to make sure that it's clear that it may need to say 161 homes may be built, so we don't have to get into the buildable, non-buildable.
Residential structures.
Sure, yeah.
Whatever that, yes. That it makes it very clear that there's 161 homes maximum.
Yes.
If you throw in single family.
Yeah, single family homes.
Well, I mean, we're still gonna have our,
But that's R3 zone, so that's gonna adhere, so it's just really setting how the language is for what is buildable homes, how many can you build?
yeah, because I think that's where the one consistent zoning, consistent setbacks, requirements, make that much, easier to navigate.
Okay.
Okay.
More thoughts, feedback? Think we kind of worked through it at this point, that's really what we're after, is trying to get to the rezoning.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry I was late.
No, that's okay. Well, thank you all for your patience and letting us come back time and time again for this. I think we're getting a little bit closer here. So I will get a document to Justin and then hopefully to y'all shortly after.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you. You're fine.
We were actually getting started
But that was, yeah.
And go from number 2, you're here.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next one. All right, so let's talk about, the site plan review related to Summerlin Village. This is the, around about 7 acres, it's located, at East Lowell and Ford, Road. We've been talking about the development, there was, some items that we talked about last meeting that we tabled for, Dave, bring us back up to speed here, getting the documentation that we were looking for. We discussed having a special meeting and everything got turned in.
We discussed having a special meeting,
But that
We had-
milestone wasn't
Yes.
achieved, I don't believe.
At this point, I think it's waiting for final, what could potentially be final review. At the previous meeting, I think one of the biggest issues from the city standpoint was the lift station site, and we go and address that and said that, we'll just move forward with dedication to the city at this point. We work that out another time, we still can, as far as, with Justin, if they were wanting to deed it back to them or have some sort of right of first refusal or something like that. Well, really, there's no new or additional comments at this time.
Okay, well, that was the big thing, is we didn't want to give conditional approval without having that full support of engineering comments back.
So these things all still outstanding?
That is the next one.
No.
No, for
No, don't believe so. That was all the outstanding items.
Oh, okay, sorry, from the last meeting, yes, ma'am, yes. I don't have comments back from the court.
Okay.
Okay, so we are.
I didn't include those in the end, but yes, there's no new comments essentially.
When does it turn back into the phone?
I think the very last question was answered like the Friday before that last meeting. So,
I know, Clint reached back out, or he sent an email out, I believe today, asking for progress, where we're at, essentially. I'm not got to speak with anybody, any of our representatives at this point to see where they're at.
I do know one item.
I'm going to respond to is engineer record.
One item on that list, which was the sewer pressure, the existing pressure testing on that sewer line for their lift station design. Will got that done and turned around on Friday of last week, so we have that. It's just a matter of plugging the numbers into their calculations. It's not like anything's going to change. But that item will be checked off this week. And then, like David said, we haven't heard back from McClellan yet as far as the final review comments. We were hoping that would come in before this meeting, but it didn't. And that was a little bit optimistic. We all knew that. So we're just hoping that that'll be done this week so we can have a few days to talk back and forth before the next meeting. My biggest request today is that if you guys have any outstanding comments, I'd love to hear it today. I will be out of town for the Planning Commission meeting on June 1st. I'll be available on Zoom so I can talk. But I think we've got pretty much everything nailed down, other than we just want 100% acceptance of the engineer comments.
That was the big thing. We just wanted those engineering comments rounded out.
Yeah.
And we had anything further, that was it.
Yeah.
It was, and if we'd gotten something in time, I would have set this up for a special approval meeting, but we really don't have anything new yet.
And like David
Other
mentioned,
than what Will said over yes Friday.
Yes.
And I remember, that was a point, I think they've been waiting on that for close to a month, trying to figure out what the pressures were. We're testing, this is something that we ran into partway through the Hillcrest project where they wanted the pressures on the sewer lines and things like that. So.
and so all that determines is that pressure just, as far as I'm aware, is the pump sizes and tank sizes. And so now they just plug those numbers in, and I think Clint said that everything looked fine. He didn't see any problems with that. There shouldn't be any more back and forth now that we have that test done.
Yeah, Yeah, I just have an aversion to approving a conditional thing with so many conditions. Yeah, that's what.
I get it. That's all right. I don't think, so as David mentioned in the last meeting, the voting meeting, that McClellan was okay with that, so they should be close enough now that, as long as we get the comments back, they should have everything addressed. They didn't see any red flags in their initial review. So,
That's what we need, we need that assurance that
Yes.
they give it a green light. They're satisfied that all of the requirements are met. And we get that piece of information, then I think we've worked through, in fact, I know we've worked through what our holdups were as a commission.
I agree. Any further comments, or so as long as engineering comes back good, then we should be good?
Yeah. I believe so.
Great. Well, thank you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on then into the Foxwood Estates subdivision, SD 2026-06. This is 579 Ford Lane.
Yes, sir. I think we're all fairly familiar with this. You know, this property went through the rezoning process with variances for some of the lot sizes. We saw some, proposed layouts. At that time, they submitted and have actually already gotten one round of comments back. We actually sent those back to the applicant, in the middle of working on their second round of comments. So realistically, by the time this comes to, I would hope that by the time this comes to the next planning meeting, they've actually had 2 rounds of comments from the planning board. Most of the comments centered around water runoff and drainage. There were some concern with utility depths and like tying locations as far as water and sewer, things like that. But I know there were some things y'all don't have an overall in the paper packets copy of the plans. There are 84 pages, but you can kind of look through there and see the layout and what they're proposing, their existing site conditions. 3 streets coming out on order, 4 external like future street connection tie-ins. I mean, all those things they look good. Speaking with one of the planning commission members before, there are a few things we're missing. We don't have a vegetation or landscape plan yet at this point, but and I will say that I did not specifically reach out to Taylor to let them know the meeting was tonight or that they were on the agenda, so Hunter was going to
I'm here to take notes.
help out.
I can answer some questions, but this isn't specifically my project. So.
But they've been through 1 round of review, so I mean, I think it was good to go ahead and get this in front of y'all to kind of start the discussion and see the proposed layout.
So I did see several comments related to off-site changes.
Yes, there were comments about whether they were doing, like did they have an easement to do off-site grading or to be able to do some work on those properties, things like that. Yes, I agree.
Offsite grading, some water being pushed to offsite properties.
Mm-hmm.
It's in an area that has those concerns before this even being done.
Yeah, I think they're working through with McClellan tomorrow morning because I know they have a lift station meeting and they're probably going to work through all that at one time.
So one of the things that I had a rub with is forcing drainage off-site.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, that's not being a good neighbor.
Yeah.
Right? Now, they've got some of this, like on the Lakeview property to the north. If there's an easement or they can do that, certainly if we can make improvements like that and they're agreeable to that, then yes, that's upstream.
Mm-hmm.
It's the downstream. Where does that water then funnel and channel to? And the off-site's not the answer.
Right. I do see they put a detention lot, looks like just to the south of that lift station. And then, of course, we got that pond there. I can't speak to the exact drainage pattern, but yeah, I know they're going to work with McClellan tomorrow morning about all those concerns.
Yeah, because there's a lot of drainage concerns, thanks to Hillcrest and Pine.
Well, most of this drains to the west.
To the
Naturally.
southwest, yeah.
Southwest, yes.
And it naturally drained through the middle of the property.
Yes. And I think at one of the original, public hearings we had, the neighboring property owners that were in those properties specifically, they did not, I don't believe they had any reservations or they were not opposed to this, adjacent to their pasture land. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean that we don't need to be good neighbors, like you said. Make sure we, do best practices for our water and mitigation standards.
And this is another one that was presented to council and they had no comments on.
No, I mean, this is zoned, so, the council's already rezoned this, and, we.
Right, I know it's rezoned, but did they see this?
No, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
turkey farm.
There was some positive comments from Eric about the fact that they looked at drainage before it came across it, and they had a drainage outflow that spread the water, and she liked that and thought it gave, it showed the intent being made to do things the right way, and the property owner adjacent to it said water's come through there for years and he didn't have a problem with it.
So
It looks like they got a level spreader on that lot just to the south of the force
That's
main
what I
there.
think that
Yeah.
she was talking about. She said
Yeah.
that she was like, I didn't like that this was gonna be okay, but seeing the thought that went into it and how it took into account, she was more positive about it.
So yes, I guess a better answer to your question, Ms. Nancy, would be, they saw preliminary, kind of designs when we were doing the zoning. The true subdivision, no, because they don't necessarily weigh in on that when no one's asked to see it. But did they see this layout, because at that point in time, we'd worked through, yes, they basically saw this layout. And, some of the intent and the effort that we put into mitigating the water there.
So you asked which comments carried back. That was my biggest comment on what was shared.
Yes, sir.
So, just because drainage is always a problem.
Yes,
right?
sir.
It's always a major concern around here. To balance point, the drawing packet's not complete. So, I think it's good to be able to get the conversations going, but, also, we were just talking about how do we keep everything more succinct? Because you see a project and then it gets blurred by another one, interject another project, start to kind of commingle, and you lose, well, which one was it into, because they're separated in different packets. I think for clarity, it would be nice if we had everything together. I think for some of the stuff, sharing, maybe McClellan likes that, as soon as you get it, a sheet's done, let it get reviewed, at least gets comments, and it maybe helps them digest what's going through, but then I think it would be good to have just a complete set, largely because we're not engaged with it daily.
Right.
So it just helps us stay in the correct lane with each project.
Understand. I think once they answer those comments too, it'd be easier for them to pull all that back together and present that. Yeah.
The one thing, so going back to, what we were needing, kind of the landscape, vegetation line. I don't recall that this had a traffic study done on it, from the zoning side. So I feel like the staff will, given the nature of Ford Lane, obviously that's something that needs to be looked into also.
I had some questions too about the street. I know that they're limited to, or maybe limited to, their frontage. And it's that tapering in and tapering out. How fast that can occur, like how sharp is that transition?
And those are based on speed. So we have, like RDOT typically sets those. We also have standards, geometric design standards that are set based on speed. And so that taper length will be based on that.
Okay.
It's a national standard.
Okay. Since I was gonna, this is where I go with the next question because of that. Because if the property to the north is Lakeview Baptist Church, and there is some right-of-way or easements with some improvements that's happening on that north boundary line, could the street improvements not taper that out more gradual and goes into that? Because there's already a curve there on part of that.
There is already a curve basically. I haven't seen official survey, but there is, my assumption is the curve goes to their property.
Well, that's what, so if
It's
there's
full street improvement.
full street improvement happening, but can we change that? I'm asking a question. Because there's what's been presented here is doing that drainage work off-site. We're talking about the same, all the dirt work's already happening right there. Change the severity of that angle and that taper, where it ties into the curb.
You're talking about where the two curbs connect?
Where the two curbs connect, instead, because as it's illustrated here,
It looks like they go.
it's pretty, looks like a pretty quick transition. Can we lessen the transition, make it more gradual? You see what I'm saying? It goes past the property line, but there's already dirt disturbances, it's probably gonna occur over there. So we're working on drainage easement off-site. Right, so that's what I'm asking.
Is there right of way?
I don't know that there's right.
That's what's going to get us sued.
So that's what I'm
thinking
asking.
the right of way was dedicated on that side.
Huh?
I was thinking there was dedicated right of way on
I don't know. I don't know the answer, but I'm bringing it up because of the dirt work
Already
offsite.
happened.
So it's like you're already doing dirt work there.
Yeah.
You're already working through an easement.
Mhm.
Can we change that angle, that severity of shift, right? To make a better road
Yeah.
transition there.
Yeah, I think Taylor can talk to McClellan about that. I mean, there are certain standards that we have to do just based off geometric design standards, and we can't typically break those. That being said, if the city is willing to pay for a certain portion of that pavement, it seems like that work could be done at a much lesser cost if it was shared, which would be the time to do it. In previous projects, I've had like Springdale do that exact same thing with tapers to match back into existing curb where it wasn't our property. And so it was mutually beneficial. I mean, you're already tearing it up. Why not just pay for a couple square feet of pavement? So that's something I can definitely bring back to Taylor to have that discussion in the morning. But without knowing the specifics, I don't know if that taper length can be met. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't make it too abrupt.
Well, to me, it would be like making it less, it would be flattening it out.
Which sometimes also is an issue too because of speeds. It can speed people up sometimes. So they're going to have to talk about the specifics on that. Because there's a reason that those lengths and widths are set. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I can definitely, I'll relay that to you.
Yeah, you're looking at disturbance
Mhm.
offsite.
Might as well. Yeah.
Now to the south, it's a little different story because you're up against another private property. And there's a driveway that's there that accesses a home and goes back.
We're pretty hemmed in right there, it looks like.
Yeah, that one doesn't unless which you would. And and I don't believe there's any right, I don't believe there's right of way.
No, sir.
We're not
No,
showing
not on
that.
that south side of the road, there's right away on the west side of the road. That's what the public works director looked at, it's like, you know, this goes in, you know, really you're looking at less than an eighth of a mile to the south, it's unimproved. And then on the east side of Ford, you know, you have, what did I say, it was maybe about the same, or maybe it was like less than 1,000 feet between the 5 or 6 parcels that were there, street that would still need to be improved on the east side. But that was with the previous Fox mistakes, and just looking at Ford as a whole.
What about trails along the front of that? Seems like,
Well, my understanding is that we had set the trails up to be on the east side.
I think you can go on either side, and while there's development coming in on that side, the trail could easily cross over, because once you hit Chev's trucking anyway, you can't get on the right side because that subdivision's built out so close to the road, there's nowhere to put a trail.
I
So
was
if you're,
thinking Brentwood would have availability for a trail.
huh?
I said, I thought Brentwood had enough space potentially for a trail.
I don't think so, with utilities there.
Well,
It seems like it would be more ideal to have it cross right there, because it comes out of Hillcrest. Seems ideal for a crossing there and then go up that side. Through the church property seems more viable.
What's our
What's
slope?
our active transportation plan?
What's the linear slope of that road right there? Would we be able to make it? You know what I mean?
I think you can make it.
2%?
I like it. I think
Okay.
it's doable.
So it's not super steep.
No.
That
Okay.
area is flat.
It's
Okay.
actually-
Well, then that's what we need.
Yeah, it's
That-
flat.
I think you're fine there. And there is a sidewalk already there, Hunter, on the outside.
I see
And
that.
I'm wondering if it's like a 5-6 situation.
Mhm.
Maybe they can, and there's plenty of green space it looks like, so they could just bump that front path. It looks like they're kind of already accounting for it, but it would be nice to go ahead and get it. You would cross over there and then take it north. You have a lot of cyclists that come through there, and as you top that there, it is a little bit of safety. So,
I'm not sure, to Jason's question, what the active transportation plan specifically shows. I thought it, just from memory, I was thinking east, because east is what we've shown all the way to Rainbow also. So if we had the other development on the north of Ridgewood, you know, they're doing the trail on the east side, so.
they can go back and forth, I
Yeah.
mean, depending on, what's in its way.
Because then you're gonna have crossing
Yeah.
notifications.
Yeah, you can have those, but right now you have cyclists on the road anyway. So it'd be a safer route for all the families that are coming in down there. And we're talking about another subdivision further south up there now.
Yeah.
Well, and once you get to 264, if we were going to do a trail, you know, along 264,
You need to use.
my assumption is that it would always be on the north side. You know, because we already have a sidewalk through a number of those sections on the south side. So if we were going to have a trail on one side of the 264 highway, we would be on the north side too. I think it's when we had set it up as
Did you say
trails.
the north side?
The north side of 264, like running east and west,
You think the trail coming through 264?
would be on the north side. But so I was saying, I don't think,
Ridgewood
we can have it on this side, but like, I don't think we would have a trail on the south side of 264 running east and west.
No, I don't think 264 is suitable as it is for an east-west trail.
Just
Yeah.
with development, you know, and the north side is where we'll have the future development, and so if we were going to put a trail in, you know, to me, it would be on the north side. I was just saying the south side already has a lot of existing sidewalks, and the topography of the south side is much more difficult.
This
We
trail
had-
would feed into it.
We had a east-west trail that I believe this is, that would cut through somewhere near this property,
We
east-west.
talked to Taylor about that when he came in.
Yeah, so there was an east-west trail, and then that would,
Can I see where y'all are talking about?
Yes.
I'm kind of lost at this point.
yeah, so.
Sorry.
We are,
And I don't,
we are right.
speaking to which side of the street, that was a
This
decision, that was
is-
like an idea, but we haven't
The
updated our.
proposed
we
by
did follow through with that. So this is actually,
connections.
it allows
And
for.
so we have, so this is Brentwood, so this is Gilbert, so it's, again, thereabouts.
And we're already.
So there is an east-west connection going here, and then there's the one going north-south.
They have a 6
Now, it's
month.
illustrated along Ford Lane to
Do this 4 more
the
feet.
east on the north side, north-south, but there is a connector going across through, and it's right near where this is, so kind of the north parcel. This is illustrated what would be the northern boundary of the parcel.
I would definitely agree with this. It doesn't really cater that often. You got setbacks back here.
But just because it's illustrated across that doesn't mean it can't follow different, go south and then go, like it could, you know, it could go south and across, you know.
Yeah, I'll definitely have that Tuesday session.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we are,
Seems like that East West Road would really be the only good corridor over there.
The one that's got to stub out to the, I agree.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is it something that we could strike? That's what, yeah, I'm just asking.
Oh, that's one of Jason's favorite.
He loves
I'm
it.
trying to figure out.
for the record, I hated it when Springdale did that.
Yeah, I know, I feel like we can't get it every time we ride there.
They call it
Also, that's
Downs
Road would be that one too.
Yeah,
It's not a neighborhood, which,
right.
that is the worst road. Did you ride this first road?
I didn't know, but
When you're 3 people deep and then there's cars coming?
I'm glad they got rid of the little rumble
Yeah.
bars or whatever.
It's just asking to make people lose it.
Yes.
But yes.
That
we have
looks
both sides are covered in the trail on our map.
Seems
So
like
this
it's
is
a
the
good
current one,
route.
so we never updated.
Because there's the list.
So it's showing trail on both sides of the road, right?
The trail that cuts through and then the
Yeah.
trail that's along.
That seems
or-
like the most
It
natural.
doesn't necessarily
That is.
state anywhere that it has to be on right or left side.
Oh, it's just showing trails associated with that.
Yeah, it's-
Street section,
well,
usually we would go to the street section.
When we
and look
set it
at
up, we discussed
And the street
that.
section shows it on one side.
So we discussed
That's
our,
what it is.
you know, the updated and we discussed picking a side.
Yeah,
And we haven't updated yet.
we updated the street section, and that's probably where I'm getting that from, is because we show it consistent on one side.
That's the TV.
And that, a street section would be
It's the TV.
to the next direction.
What's that standards?
Was this?
No,
No, it's
I
not.
don't think it's
This
about-
one wasn't.
no,
It was just,
this is straight zone.
To get that.
Oh, he's got all this
wait a second, I'm not.
ADU residential. But that could be old. I'm pulling this from our survey.
I think it's R3.
It's our.
It's R3.
The zone?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was over three with, variances.
Or some of the blocks or something.
I mean, that just makes no sense, because that's the only place that's gonna tag into anything in the future. Especially with this lot right here, that little drainage lot being so low, you know, with this being brought up, that's gonna be the only thing that's gonna be viable in the future.
Which one?
Just to the north of the station, you know, where that subs out, south of lot 15.
Going west. That, yeah, that's right on the middle of the year. But it, I mean, along Ford, it needs it as well.
That sidewalk and the taper,
And I think they can add 4 extra feet, they have room out there to make that a 10-foot drop.
would that go into Ford,
like right here, so Hillcrest has a trail of, for their subdivision, I don't know exactly what it is, but we can do that.
They have it. They have their
Because that's
trail right there.
So I think if we did strike across like here, there.
Gotta
it
get
makes
across.
sense to do that, because, you know. And I think that's a 6 foot, not front anyway. So I think if, well, we can kind of check.
I got you.
Is Oakcrest not 12 feet?
Well,
That's what we're showing.
I don't know, it might be 10, it might be 12, I don't remember.
And it goes by their lift station too.
It might be good to just make sure they have a copy of it. I mean, it's just sidewalks, but if you're in. I don't know what to do.
I got you. I'll add that to his discussion.
And then you have your, which we need to get to that, the shifting gears and reflecting back to the project, the active project you're working on.
So there would be trails.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that makes the connection,
I got you.
so.
Oh yeah, and like I said, we even want to do trails in that detention pond area, like mountain bike trails and stuff. If we can do that, make it like a cool amenity. At least use the space. You know what I mean?
Right.
So. All right. You want a 10 foot trail? 10-foot trail?
I think the look and see.
I think the rest of them will. 12.
And that would eat into the green space on Ford though, right? So it's still staying in, right? It would stay in the right of way.
Yes.
Right, so it's not gonna push the lots. You see what I'm saying?
I think it could be done out front, and then you're not messing with the layout or anything, you're just taking a little sliver of the space.
Gotcha. The taper on the north side that we were talking about earlier,
Yes.
So it does look like they tapered that slightly off site.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think one of the
But I was wondering if we can't make that transition flatter.
Yeah. I'm adding that to this. Yeah, I'll just see. Like I said, that's a geometric design standard. It just makes plugging numbers and how fast you're going.
I bring it up because I know there's the standards and I don't know what everything always gets built to. But I see situations like that where they make it kind of a hard corner and cars can curve it.
Yeah.
Multiple, yeah.
Right.
Okay, so,
Looks like John Creek off-street, or on-street parking.
Yeah.
Instead
Yeah.
of just taking the road back in.
well, why do they call me a language shop's money? Do a curve offset.
We said you will consider the trailer. Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna give us subsidies anyway.
Right. I got you. They're tearing it up anyway, so.
Yeah.
The water line runs right underneath that, so
Yes, and I saw comments on the water line.
perfect opportunity. They are going to slow down those flows that are going off to the west side. I'm just looking at that, especially with that level spreader, it's going to do nothing but improve the drainage over there. Just spread everything out instead of being a point of discharge, you know. So
Right, it slows it down. It
there's
gets
no
lost.
erosion. Yeah, it's going to let everything kind of settle out, right? And then we also have to prove that the amount of water coming off at a certain speed, right, is lower than what it was previous. So it's going to do nothing but improve that area, for sure. Good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for standing in.
No, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for throwing me some softballs.
All right, thank you so much. Dan, do you have anything additional?
No, sir, no, sir.
All right, so we got our next public hearing meeting, action meeting, the first Monday in June, which is June 1st.
Yeah.
What's our date?
What's up, what's the date for what?
For work session in June?
15th.
I'll be in Alaska.
Good for you. Good for you.
Right after.
All right, so June 1st. Okay. Does that wraps it up?
Yep.
Thank you
My
very much.